How many stores? Oh, 26 now. Oh.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining. And welcome to our session of AIT Alumni Talk Series by GC Connect. Today, we will have an interactive session connecting with our alumni speaker, Dr. Thiti Vacharasintopchai. The topic of today is Smart City, a new professional platform for modern engineers. So, to begin with, let us welcome Dr. Naveed Anwar, Vice President for Knowledge Transfer AIT. Welcome, Dr. Naveed.
Thank you so much, Priya, and welcome, Dr. Thiti. Let me just say that this is a great pleasure for me to join this particular talk because I have known, myself and Dr. Thiti, we have known each other for a very long time and have had the opportunity to work together also in the beginning. So there are two reasons that I'm really very interested in this talk today. One is, of course, that the speaker is very well known and also is working in this field for many years with his background in structural engineering, with computing and so on. And the second one is this topic is very interesting from every aspect because it involves so many disciplines that have to join together. In fact, when there are two things like climate change, when that came in, also everybody was saying that this is their field and also not their field because it's not really in a particular discipline. And same thing is with smart cities because smart cities is also so wide and so interdisciplinary that it is in every field and it is in none of the fields. So that's why I think this topic that it is a professional platform for modern engineers, but I think also beyond that, it is for policy makers, it is for the public affairs people, it is for the public itself, it is for finance. So the smart cities goes way beyond the infrastructure that engineers normally deal with. So that's why I think this topic is of so much interest to all of our participants. So I would like to welcome Dr. Thiti, and I would also just like to mention that now that we have had a very good success with connecting to our alumni, and when we set up the graduate club, we also at that time thought of many activities. And one of that activities was that we will invite our alumni to join our AIT regular programs to upgrade their knowledge or refresh what they have studied or see what new things are happening in their discipline or even in related disciplines. So before COVID, it was quite difficult for them to actually come physically and take these classes. But now because of the current state, and then we have the online platforms and we have the hybrid platform where all of the AIT classes are being held online with some people attending in class, some attending online. So we are thinking that this might be a very good time to invite alumni to actually join some of the classes that they want to. It may be in their particular field or another field. For example, this data analytics now is coming in every field. So maybe somebody would like to learn that or smart cities related topics or IoT applications. So for that reason, we are actually going to start offering the regular programs to our alumni with no fee for the course. There might be some nominal registration fee. So I think we will very soon make the announcement. So this is also, I think, part of this knowledge sharing that we are doing today. We can take it to the next level. So with that, I will once again like to welcome everyone who's joining. And thank you so much, Dr. Thiti and Sharia. Back to you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Naveed. Okay. So, yes, please. Okay.
Yeah, Doctor. Okay, thank you, Dr. Naveed. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Sanjeev Jai Singh, Director of Advancement and Alumni Affairs, AIT, to talk about recent initiatives and collaboration. Welcome, Mr. Sanjeev.
Thank you. Thank you, Shreya. Dr. Thiti is all geared up to give his talk, so I'll be very short. Very basic, I would like to echo. First of all, Dr. Thiti is no stranger to AIT, and I've had the good fortune of working closely with him within the last year or so with regard to some developments that we are also doing together with him and through his company team. And I would also like to welcome everyone who is here. And we have got a good group as well as on the Facebook Live. And I would like to say that I would like to echo what Dr. Naveed Anwar just mentioned, that thanks to him and then my office and also the support from your alumni chapter president headquarters, Ms. Faye, we have been working very hard to try to increase the connectivity and cooperation between AIT and our alumni. And one way we are doing this is, as what Dr. Naveed mentioned, through these offerings of regular programs. And actually this COVID-19 became a kind of blessing in disguise that we are able to now accelerate this and then offer this to our alumni at basically at no cost, as Dr. Naveed mentioned. And of course, very soon we'll be sending email out to all those alumni who would be interested to look into this further. So without further ado, I think let's all look forward to a very interesting presentation by Dr. Thiti and the question and answers that will follow. So welcome and thank you all for giving your time to hear and listen to Dr. Thiti. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Thiti Vacharasintopchai. Dr. Thiti is the Senior Vice President for Technology, Innovation and Knowledge Management at Team Consulting Engineering and Management PLC, one of the largest integrated engineering consulting firms in Thailand. He received his doctoral engineering degree in structural engineering from AIT in 2007. He has more than 22 years of experience in construction, 12 years in technology management, 10 years in real estate, and 3 years in healthcare. He also holds the Certified Information Systems Auditor credential from ISACA, a world-renowned professional association focused on IT governance, and the Digital Transformation Expert credential from Office of the National Broadcasting and Telecommunications of Thailand. So now let us welcome Dr. Thiti.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Before this, before we proceed too long, let me start. Because we are a public company and I'm not authorized to speak on behalf of the company. So this is a standard disclaimer that all views are just my own opinions. Okay, right. It doesn't imply any endorsement from the entity, the team group, or earlier affiliates that have been working with. Okay. Something about me. The hosts have already introduced me, but I must say my life begins at AIT. When I finished my bachelor's from Chula, that one was right after the Tom Yam Kung crisis. So I had no choice but to go to master degree. And luckily during the job fair, so I went to some big firms. They said, no civil engineering, just then I go to another booth which is by AIT, so they are giving like the application letter. So I went on right away and then took the TOEFL score. I took the earliest TOEFL just to get the scores, and luckily I passed. So I got a chance to go to the structural engineering in 1998, and that was the beginning. I was interested in computers before, but my parents want me to be a contractor. So I studied civil engineering, like with the intention that, hey, I really like the IT stuff. Yeah. And at AIT, I met Professor Wasak and all the experts, the Professor Ben Professor Ben, and then my other advisors, like Dr. Barry, who got his doctoral from Carnegie Mellon, which is like one of the best IT school in the world, right? So my my career or my education has been changing gradually a little bit. So it starts from the financial element analysis and then goes into, during that time, my master thesis was about the cluster computing, which is the parent of grid computing and cloud computing right now, right? And then I went to work for 2 years, and then I came back. I got the RTG scholarships into the doctoral, and later on it's more. If you want to look at what I had been doing, you can go to the AIT library or look at my thesis. Yeah, it's more or more, and I had a chance, very lucky to work with Dr. Naveed during that time. And it's like you have been working with, like during the time when I was in master's. So that's the idea. And then I went to teach in management of technologies, and in IT, I was in charge of IT. And then I moved. Later on, I was teaching for 6 years, and then I went to real estate in building information technologies and in innovations, yeah, and into strategy. And that's how I went into healthcare, which is like one of the hottest area right now, right? We are in COVID and we listen to doctors, everyone, right? So that's a brief info about me. You can connect to me with this QR code. This one is a line, but later on I'll show you my telephone and whatever. Okay, so let's get started, right? Okay. When we talk about smart cities, okay, first thing, let's start with why. Why smart city? What is it? And you will have many questions about it. Earlier, especially before COVID or before 2 years ago, I was curious as well that what exactly is smart cities about. From many years of working in, first it was in the industry, in research, in academics, everything mixed. Here is the beginning of why, okay? Starting with the cities and pictures like this, okay? What you can see is something back in the past decades, like in 2010s, for those at AIT or in Thailand, this is profound. It has a profound meaning. This picture was from DEPA, the Office of the Digital Economy Promotion in Thailand, but it reflects the same thing in ASEAN, at least the developing countries, that most of us, the AIT alumni, are the citizen of this region, okay? First, this is common, this picture. Traffic jams everywhere, the garbage like this. Nowadays it's better, but it's still in some part it's like this. And this one, the picture of the Great Flood. If you go to AIT, you will still see a memorial of this one. I think it's in front of AIT Center, right? That the highest depth of flood that happened. Okay, so it has been agreed by many leaders in the region that this one is because of the urbanization that was very fast. Okay, it was forecasted by I think these figures was from the last ASEAN summit on, which is the initiation of smart cities, that by 2030, 90 million people will be in urbanized cities, right? And the cities that will be most affected, like the size that there will be a lot of cities that the population is between 200,000 and 2 million residents. This will be 40% of this growth, okay? And if it is not controlled or it is not planned carefully, this thing will happen more and more, yeah. Congestion, air quality, water, urban, rural divide, or housing, or slums, you can say, okay? And it has been agreed by all the experts and leaders that technology and non-technology means when put together, will be able to solve this problem, right? It will enhance the quality and the accessibility of the service of the people equally, not only the people in like not the rich, but the poorer or the everyone, the boys, the elderly, the working people will be accessible. This is the goal, right, of the Smart City initiative. What it looks like, okay? Fast forward to 2020, this is right now, okay? Just before COVID, okay? I must say just before COVID. This picture is actually the picture from my condo. It is in the business area of Bangkok, Auri, which is one of the in the common business area. Okay, you see condos, high rises everywhere, but you see the smaller houses and green areas. If you see, okay, living peacefully. Actually, in the picture, if you look, we have some of the, like, this is the one of the big telco headquarters, one and at a headquarter of the real estate companies, and you see the logo of K-Bank. Okay, this is what is happening right now. And if you go there in Bangkok, this is one of the active area of digital transformation or going digital. You can say smart cities or whatever. We'll deal with the definition later. Okay. Another contrast. This is totally contrast. This is one of the rural area in Thailand. It has something in similar, and this one as well. One of the proposed developments in Shenzhen in China. Okay. The common thing is that it is peaceful and like it's not a mess if you compare to this picture, right? It's contrast. Okay, this is an example of what is going on, which is a common ground for the future developments, right? Okay, let's go next. Yeah, I think everyone have heard about these terms, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, right? Before this term, it was the millennium. Everyone was thinking like what to see when during the year 2000, right? But after that, then we have already passed. And we have seen a lot of problems. So the people in the UN convention have agreed on one thing, that we need to have sustainable development. And it is a framework for 17 items like this. Yeah, it's all the hot topic that we have been listening, right? Right now we have been talking about the climate changes, the poverty, hunger, and everything. But the solution for this one, it has been commented by one of the UN officials that the solution for all these problems is that smart cities can are the thing to help in the overcoming this problem to achieve the sustainable development. Yeah. Yeah. We can have a look at an example, the latest example. Not sure if you have read this article, but it is very interesting. This article was published by McKinsey in May, in the mid of May, during the height of COVID crisis. Okay, they say that while Europe have been under serious lockdown, where everything, people cannot move, people have a difficulty in life. In Asia, it is relatively all right. People can live just in compare relatively happily. although not as good as before COVID, but we can live, and it's quite lively. Yeah. McKinsey from the analysis, they say that technology is one of the things that differentiate Asia from the rest of the world. I don't know, but before COVID, we will see that the rate of use of like the IT or maybe smartphones in particular, or the apps or anything uh, in Asia is one of the hottest area in the world. I just attend the 5G national conference the other day. They say that the food ordering apps like the green color or the purple color, whatever, you have many color, right? The idea was originally from Asia, and then this idea then it goes around the world. And right now it is rather quite a bit like a standard, so that you order food by the applications, and then some delivery will go to your house, something like this. So technology is one thing that enable it. Okay. How can we achieve the smart cities? This one was from the ASEAN meetings in 2018. Yeah, there was a big summit, and this is the one of the origination of the smart cities in ASEAN. Okay, uh, the leaders in our region have uh, formulate this idea, and everyone in the region are working towards it. Something have already been there, something needs to go, something are still a challenge, but at the end, it is the aspiration of everyone to bring the sustainable development into this region. Yeah, you can start with the enablers, right? The partnership actually is the infrastructures and application. When you see smart, it is related to the term digitization, digital transformation, and many things. It goes into related meanings, but that is same thing. But for the cities to achieve this is quite, we cannot do alone, because like Dr. Navid said, it's a huge area, it's a huge challenge. So we need the partnership from all parties, from the government side, from the private sectors, from the bankers, from the IT people, from many parties to work together. We cannot do alone, because in one work you have to deal with another, right? And there will be funding. And by partnership, it is like intergovernmental as well, right? The idea is that there are 6 areas of challenges, right? Development area. First is on the social interactions, right? The cultures, the deals with people, the governance, how you can do things inclusively. Not smart is not just for the rich, it's for the poor, for the elderly, for the children, everyone as well, right? And then on the areas, right now we are concerned like the health. So one thing is like from the basic needs of human, right? You start with health first. So we have to be healthy, we have to live well, yeah, from the housing, in the healthcare and education. And then next, we go to safety and security, right? It's not just about CCTV, it's more than that. CCTV is one thing, but you have lots of things going on, the public safety, the crime prevention. CCTV alone cannot do, but you have to do something like with the application, you have CCTV, then what's next? And what if in the general area that you don't have CCTV, when what's next? What to do with it? Something like this, right? And quality, the environments. In this region before COVID, we were having a problem with the PM 2.5, right? The air quality was terrible. People have to wear masks and so on. And then later on, it was COVID. COVID that will still have to be mass, but nowadays it's almost 100% in Asia. Yeah, some example, right? And then the garbage was one thing, example, okay? And then next is on the infrastructures, utilities, the mobility, transportation, traffic jam, later on, right? And the constructions. You'll be, all of us AIT alumni are familiar with this one because it's the things that we have been studying, right? And the industry and innovation that we, maybe it's one of the most advanced in the economy, like the, you see the apps, the e-commerce and many things, or the advancement of IT. This can be one enabler, but it's not all, okay? And how to integrate it? It has to be dynamically adaptive and then put into a master plan that cover everything. And the goal, simple here: quality of life, sustainable environment, and economy competitive. You cannot just throw things into it and say it's smart, okay? I would say smart cities are not only about IT, not about apps, not about e-commerce, like you order things. This is one thing, not about industrial robotics or service. Right now we have the robots, welcome robots, right? And then people are talking about the service robot moving everywhere, like it looks cool. That is one thing, but smart cities will not be like a sci-fi that you see robots everywhere moving like in the movie. That is not the realistic smart cities in the leader's point of view. No. Okay. But is this what we have been living in, but make it better using technologies? Okay. When we say about the domains or the areas for smart cities, we can use this thing. Is an annual competition by IDC. IDC, if you look in the tech world, you would be familiar with it. Is one of the agencies that do some research studies about the technologies. Okay? They have a competition every year. And like the latest one, this one was actually already been awarded during COVID. There are many areas like the administration, which is like a governance, the engagement, like you deal with people, right? So you have to take people, all classes of people from all walks of life into account, and the accessibility, equality. This one is in the like the governance, right? And on the tourism, arts, culture, this is one thing. Education, for those of us in the e-learning, we would be familiar with this area, okay? And then the public health and social service. This is one of the hottest topics during COVID right now is telemedicine. This is one of the example, okay? And then the disaster response, emergency. Those of us in the School of CERT, I think, and I have some classmates in the working at the ADPC, which used to be in the AIT campus. They also work on this one. And the policing, and then some of the smart buildings on built environment. This one for us alumni is on in the mix between School of Civil Engineering and the right now is engineering technology mix, right? On green buildings, on many things. And water right now, we take it for granted that water is just comes, and then we don't know, we sometimes we worried about the flood, the drought, the rain, whatever. But we have lots of people, especially at AIT, working in this domain, water resources engineering, right? We have produced lots of PhDs on this, right? And the infrastructure, transport, which is common, right? And the urban planning. So these are examples of the domains for smart cities, right? Okay. How to do it technically? This is the challenge from the public, that smart cities is not about apps, right? Smart cities is not about just in the movie, robots moving everywhere, but it is this domain. So how to do it? We have technical enablers. One of the hottest thing right now is this one, communications. 5G. People talk about 5G is about the like the powerfulness of it, what it can do. I'll give you a spec. This one is from the website Venture Capitalist, but if you search on Google, it's something similar. But this one is, the picture is good enough. So from 5G, it says that the response speed will be faster. This is the technical term for latency. Latency is like when you ask something and you get the reply. If you ask in the like 20 years ago during the modem day, the that dial in telephone that you have to that one was slow. But right now you live in a 4G, then you can watch movies and things faster. 5G will be much faster, 10 times faster. Yeah. And then the throughput, you can download speed or upload speed will be much faster, 10 times. The efficiency, which is like the telco people, I think we will have some, the telecom force will talk about the limited resources of the spectrum, which is the band, the frequency of the communication channel that we use. They say it is more efficient. But what the rest, we have three more areas that is interesting. One is the connections. Another is the traffic. Another thing is the network efficiency. 5G is designed for non-human. It is designed for machines, right? Right now, we can think like, what exactly is machines? We can say like, okay, mobile phones. We have, because it is the most common things that we have been seeing around us is lots of cell phones. But later on, we talk about the IoT, Internet of Things. But there was one thing that people were not been talking, that how are things connected to the internet? Yeah. In the olden days, people were talking about how 5G is one thing, the newer version. It allows very dense area. You can put a lot of devices or those things that can be anything into the network and let it communicate to others, right? This is the benefit of 5G. Okay. But this is a big but, right? We don't have to wait for 5G to do something. Many things have already been there. If you recall what I mentioned that from my PhD thesis, during that time, my prototype written in the thesis, it was something similar to this. So we already had something there. I'll show you something in the next slide, right? But 5G will bring more speed and realistic or efficiency to it. So we already have the technologies, but it's very much not quite developed. This is the thing. For example, okay, you look at the right picture first. This is something, I got a PhD in structural engineering, so let me use the structural example, okay? These are the structural monitoring system. So basically, it's like this in the buildings. You would want somehow to make sure that the important buildings are okay, are all right. And like if you look at the bridge, right? The bridge, whether this one is cable stay, you would want to say that the structural integrity is all right, the tension, everything in the configuration of the bridge is all right according to what has been planned, designed, right? You don't have the workforce to go there and inspect every time, all the time. So you want to make sure that important buildings are all right. Or you take the actions, the preventive actions to make sure that things go on smoothly. Yeah. Or the underground tunneling, you see some picture of the tunnel, something similar. Those areas that you cannot see easily. Yeah. You need somehow to do it. This has been one of the most active topics in structural engineering in the past. It is active right now, but maybe the words smart or things that are not technical like IT related are hotter in the news. But I say these things are already there, and this is like the remote pipeline, right? In the desert, something like this. You have technologies, okay? Or even this one. This one is closer to us. This was a smarter pole I took on the trip to Shenzhen. You see this pole. This is more common. You have the weather station, the traffic center, the CCTV is already there. Okay. My my opinion is that here, up to now, especially during COVID, we have seen lots of active uh, e-commerce logistic activity. It has quite mature. But for other technical domains, there are still huge of rooms for experiments or some white space or challenges for us to do. Some interesting things for us to play, right? For example, this one. This is about built environment, okay? I had used this picture before. Some of us in civil engineering should be familiar with this one, the word BIM, operation, maintenance. The guys in IT may be familiar with the ERP things, right? This one, it is not new, but it is still relatively lag behind e-commerce. And we engineers can, entrepreneurs, businessmen, everyone can do something about this, right? What you would want to see is that if you are one of the BIM guys, building information modeling, you would be familiar with pictures in the background, right? Yeah. You use the 3D, modern 3D software to design the buildings or to do the integration of all the designs so that there is no clash, and then you fabricated it, and then you go to the construction supervision, and then the operate it, and then until the renovation times. Yeah. The question is how, right? There are rooms for us. The ERP are quite mature. You can use the ERP from the business world, right? That, okay, you want to order parts for maintenance, you want to order a light bulb, something is already there. But the thing is this one, the technical part, how to use data from BIM and run the smart cities. This one is like an operating system, right? If you compare to computer, you buy computers alone without the operating system, whether it's Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, whatever. If you don't have the operating system, it doesn't work. Same here. Uh, if you have this thing, but you cannot actually operate it efficiently, it is nothing. Basically, the smart cities is not that smart, and there are rooms for improvement in this one. For people in the top real estate, I mean, like if you own a shopping mall, if you own a huge hospital or huge office building, you would have the luxury of doing something about this, the maintenance or the operation of building. There are some quite expensive software in the world to do it. But for general people, general public that live in the mid-range, there's still some rooms for improvement. There are the needs for some of the development in this one. This is example. And my challenge is how, okay? this thing. We can go back to school, come back to school. Most of us, especially at AIT, would be familiar with some kind of this one. If you are in the school of engineering, like in the civil engineering, you would be familiar with this one, right? The upper right-hand side is the stiffness matrix in the finite element methods, right? What I learned during my first semester in master degree was tensors. Long before tensors become popular in the AI, right? You can look during that time. It's all mathematics, right? You would be wonders why only one line of equations can be expanded into pages of numbers and variables. The tensors is the same tensors that are being used in the AI terms, but people use it for like the data mining, data science, but it's the same tensors, right? For the IT people, we have good professors in AI at AIT. Yeah, I learned a lot about AI. You would be familiar with this one, the knowledge graph, the reasoner, computational logics, whatever, right? But if you put everything together, right? How exactly does the operating system of the city or smart city works? The inside, it all deals with as the engineering professional, right? I wrote something maybe in the past or some of my PhD thesis. You can, if you are interested, you can read more at this URL. It's a link to Google Scholar. Okay, let's go next. Okay. Now that one was about the brain. Next, we are moving to the reality. In some IT people, they call it the cyber physical interactions, but I would call it simply as the from labs to field. How do you put it into reality? These are something that are coming close to us, and the world was like, I think the market was very excited when they heard these two guys. Okay, one on the left side it is Apple, on the right side it is Android. Okay, what was exciting is that Apple have put the sensors. LiDAR is a laser scan sensors for the mass, right? They put LiDAR into every iPad Pro introduced, but some rumors say this is just one batch, the iPad Pro. So if you buy iPad right now, you get LiDAR sensors. Many people say what is the use? Because there is no apps, right? Same thing. People are challenging the engineering people that how can you make use of this ubiquitous hardware? You have the sensors there. The programmer know how to program it, but they don't know how to put it into real practice. When you have sensors, then you need to have how to make use of it, right? It deals with engineer, right? For the Android side, they have something in similar, right? You have the bridge between the cyber world and the physical world. One thing, this is the sensor, and this is in additional to the things that we have already seen, right? The temperature sensors, so many sensors, the water sensors, the humidity sensors that the ubiquitous, right? Okay. Next is this one you may be familiar. People in the construction, you have this thing, putting the information in the computer and relate it to the real world. There are one part. This is the virtual reality, which is you have the information in the computer, right? You want to feel it as if you are in it. So you will call it virtual reality. This is the site inspection from BIM model, building information modeling model. This one was a work at team group. Okay, You design the buildings, you can make some inspection before it's actually built. And the reverse, the augmented reality, this one, like you have a GIS coupling with augmented reality, you can go to the road and then get some information about it, or the design, the site inspection, this one, right? Actually, augmented reality have already been there. It's quite popular in games, but in the real engineering application, there are still challenges because in the market is still the proof of concept prototype and is still relatively expensive. So how to make it more affordable? Okay. This is a bit more advanced. You will see this in the advertisement, the augmented reality, you take the drawings, the design from computers, and then you see what it actually looks like. In consumer markets, this is like when you go shopping for furniture, you can just try whether the furniture would fit. Some people use it for site inspection, but again, it's just a test or commercial advertisement. It's not practical yet. So the challenge for us is to how to make it practical. Yeah, this thing too, you can see in research in the labs in many places, but how to make it practical, right? In this picture, we will see two contrasts. I come from real estate, so this precast technology is the European technologies, is common in the real estate. Actually, there are big ones near AIT campus, right? This technology is what that has been mass building the houses in Thailand and in this region. Yeah, this is another contrast to 3D printing. You use robot in this one. The challenge or the idea from people in the field, in the industry is how are these two related? Which one is more efficient? How can we use the technologies to really help us in the life and sustainably? Yeah. Yeah. So all questions comes to this one, financial, right? When you go to investors, go to the businessmen, you can say, hey, you can show me all the gadgets, the technologies, but it is expensive. How can you do it so that I can really pay? It's not especially during this time of crisis, like people may say, I don't have the money to burn. How to make it realistic, financially feasible? Yeah. In the financial world, people talk about the return on investment, return on equity, return on asset, the IRR. If you talk to the government, they'll talk about the cost benefit ratio, right? But same thing, how to make it more financially feasible. Yeah. One thing is there has in recent days, when we talk about the sustainability, we have two important words and plus one, how to use it, right? You may be familiar with this one in the news, especially ESG, environmental, social, and governance, and the socially responsible investment, the SRI, right? And people who invest in this, we call it purposeful investment. So you fund something that is for the future. So we already have something in the labs, right? So many ideas that I have mentioned, but how to put it into practice, the real practice, not just at the lab scale. Which one is like, it is all right, which one should be modified, which one we should have input from this one and come and work together. Yeah, this is one thing that will help in the making an impact. It's called the purposeful investment. Okay. We can have a look at the demands from the public. Okay, right now, this is from the latest LinkedIn post on 23rd, related to this year is COVID, maybe it's COVID alone. Okay, but from COVID, people have been talking about sustainably. What is the reason? why we are so suffering with COVID. What is next? Okay. In order to fix COVID, we can read at the comments by the French president. He posted this on the LinkedIn on the August 23rd. Okay. Within 131 days that we have been, before half year left before the end of the year. And all the time during this time that we have been fighting with COVID, okay, we have consumed the resource that the planet can generate in 1 year. Okay, so we have our usage have exceed what the world have been producing. So it means that if you talk in calculus, this one is on the degradations. We are not going in the sustainable mode. And we know that we have to do something to fix it. Yeah, right. The green financing world, they are having an annual conference in early September, which is about this. You can look at the the keywords or the hashtag, right? Green transition, climate, the transition, the investment. People are talking about how to transition into sustainable. This is the theme for today. And during the lockdown, who has been affected most? The airlines, right? You see in Thailand, Thai Airways have gone bankrupt, and many airlines in the world have gone into similar tracks. Okay, because people cannot travel because of COVID. And the reason for COVID, some people are saying that because we have been not fair to the world, and partly because of the climate effect or unsustainability. People are also talking like the green field. How do we travel such that we don't take too much from the world? Okay, this is one thing. Okay, so you can, people in the public, you may ask, so who are involved? Whose problem is this one? The answer is everyone's problem, right? If you go back to the technical world says that, okay, I can do it, but I don't know who, people are not investing in me. But right now for the financial world, they say it's not feasible, it's not economical, and everyone have to be involved. So there must be a equilibrium between these 2-3 guys, right? Because of what? We buy products and service, right? Everyone buys product and service. And if we are in the free market, this create the demands that people who want to supply or want to sell or provide some service, they have to take into account that this is what the customers want, okay? From the investment side, okay, the government and the corporate, when they want to get money to do something, they borrow from people. In the finance world, they call this bond, but basically it's the borrowing of money from people. And usually the people who give money, who lend money to someone, they are in a better position to demand. So government or corporates borrow money. The people who lend money can ask for something. Same here. Same as the insurance company. Our mutual funds, the insurance or the pension fund, the retirement funds, you get the benefit from your money because they invest, right, in the capital market. So basically they invest in companies, they lend money to the bonds, whatever, in return for the benefit of the funds. So it's everyone's problem who can do something about this to make the sustainable developments and technologies more practical. Okay. These are examples, some examples. Okay. If you look at the news, especially the business news right now, from the borrowing money side of the bonds market, people are talking about the ESG or the socially responsible investment. There are like 2-3 flavors. One is the green. Green mean is like on the sustainable, but dealing with the climate change side, that to keep it the ecosystem green. So in these flavors, they have some rules and regulations such that you have to be bound to this regulation. Otherwise, you cannot lend the money. And then some governments are giving incentive for this kind. Same as the social bond, the social responsible bond, and the sustainability bond, same thing. For the equity side, which is maybe equity is in simple terms, investing in the stocks or putting your money into companies. There are also similar things. This is the latest news this morning that in Japan for post-COVID, people are interested in the ESG related bonds. It's one of the biggest launch of bonds in 20 years. Okay. These two pictures are one of the last. It's interesting. I take these pictures because this is in layman term, you know, this picture was shared on Facebook 2,000 something times. Yeah, is a picture in the taxi. Yeah, simple things about COVID. If you don't wear mask or you don't sanitize yourself, you die, I die, everybody dies. So it's not your problem, it's not my problem, it's everyone's problem. Okay. For this thing is more serious. Bill Gates, he has been quite active, and in this one, he has been one of the first influencers on the COVID-19 vaccine, right? If you listen to the news, right? And he said, COVID is this awful. The world have lost almost 1 million people within half years. 6-8 months, we have lost almost 1 million people, right? He said, climate change is still there. Maybe we can like make a ceasefire with climate change during COVID. But after COVID is gone, it's up to us whether we are coming back to the old track or we are going to new normal, to the new world, right? Climate change. He said, if we don't do anything, it will be worse. And it's coming right next to us within our generation. He said, like in 30, 50 years, you'll see it. And this one is like, you'll see, everyone have tasted what it looks like by COVID, but climate change will be worse. Yeah. So I'd like to make a challenge for us, everyone, right? Because AIT alumni, we have many people in many areas that we all know that the sustainable development is the way to go, whether people like it or not, but it is the way to go, right? What can we do? What we do and will be doing in the next years? So many of us, the alumni, we work in many industries, like whether you are governments, in the banks, in the enterprises, private sectors, in research education, or some are in NGOs, or everyone, you are customers somehow, right? What can you do to influence or shape the world? Okay, we have technologies, we have our technical knowledge, we have the business knowledge, governance knowledge. How do we put things together and leverage it so that the efforts are focused, right? And then you can make things that we have been doing, shape it and put it into reality towards sustainability, and then we make it inclusively for everyone. Okay. So with this, I'd like to conclude, okay, with this statement, okay. COVID-19, it is a great reminder of how unsustainably the world had been moving. You can witness it, right? And then throughout history, great inventions are born during the time of crisis. If you look at the history, Newton, he found the F equal to ma, or the many kinds of his rule during the crisis. When the apple falling on his head, it was his time during the crisis, or even Galileo when he found discovered his theory, it was during the crisis. So we can take time. Some people are during lockdown, some people are making more idle. We can take COVID-19 as an opportunity for us to rethink, to rebuild, and then to recover into a better world, okay? If you are interested, you can join me or discuss with me in this one. Here's my cell phone numbers. You can, it's also WhatsApp, WeChat. You can email to me. This is the work address. This is the alumni address. Yeah, I'm quite active on LinkedIn, and for people who use Line, I'm also have this Line, so you can chat with me. Okay. So with this, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thiti. I'd like to invite our participants to ask any questions or give some feedback. Please unmute your microphones to speak up. Any questions or feedback from the audiences?
I have one question.
Yes.
Millie from HSD. Former it was HSD, now it's a SCRD, I think, third. It's not a question, it's to think about that also in the smart cities. That is, whether we think about the all people, all normal people, not normal people, all ages people, all ages and everyone. So it's a very short 1 hour presentation, so couldn't include a lot of things maybe, but those should be included within this. And the other one, that we lose a lot of green areas due to construction, natures. Can we compensate those on rooftop or some levels or somehow? These two I request you to include or incorporate. Thank you.
Right. This is one thing interesting about the deforestation and reforestation, right? And this is how I would call for us experts, because I know it's something dealing with the school of CERT, right? Environmental resources, right? A bit controversy. People, the architects, say the same thing. Hey, we remove this, and then we grow this. But the question is how to do it sustainably, not just for checking, right? And this one is right, and then is a mixed effort, joint efforts between government and the people in the development,
implementation,
right, and the customers as well. If you use a public, that's one thing, but in some economy, like you are the customers. For example, they build a housing project, right, and you do something with this one, so customer can choose. And but in the reality, there is one thing about the cost as well. But I believe that if every parties go together and make it happen, they genuinely wants to make it happen, we can do something. Because right now, if you look at the world economies, it is full of the subsidies, right? Even the gasoline, everything is tax, is subsidies. So if everyone join together, all the leaders join together and rebalance the world somehow, it should make things more feasible, I think. But it's not the work of someone alone. But one thing is that there is a saying that there is nothing that an engineer cannot do. Usually engineer can do, but it's like whether it's the financially feasible or not, whether it's difficult and the engineer or the team don't want to do it or something. But if people wants to do it and everyone intends to do, I think we can do.
It's basically a consortium of all professionals, architects, engineers, sociologists, economists, and many, many other experts. If all agrees, then the government is very strong enough, then it is possible to implement. Otherwise, our design is totally, we live in the drawing papers only. There is no implementation, and strategically, that's a failure to all the professionals.
AIT is a good platform for this because we have all the professions and the senior guys in the leadership, right? And we have another extreme is the junior guys who's working in the field, and we have all the fields of studies that are expert on this one. I used to talk to the alumni guys that the goal or the field of studies of AIT, the intention when AIT was born was for the development, right? We basically were born during the Cold War or something, right? And then the goal right now is on sustainability. And all the programs, the research, everything offered is on this one. So if we align things, especially among alumni and work together, right now is a great chance. We are talking from many parts of Asia, right?
Yep.
By Zoom.
Yep.
And technology is so cheap. Initially, if we talk like 2-3 years ago, it's very, very expensive and not practical to use this. But COVID has spared us and give us a chance to have a technology that we can collaborate together, discuss together virtually. So this is a good start. Then people said, like I said, is and despite is the bad things, it is a good start to rethink and then do it in the redevelopment. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow.
We have one more question. When do you think the smart city condition can be achieved fully? Is it next 5 years or 20 years?
I think it's a journey. We have already been seeing something, but it immature. We can say that, okay, if you look in the distant way, right, 10 years from now, it should be bigger. It should be better. Like 10 years past, we saw the flood, but right now it gets better. But it's not an abrupt change. It will be a gradual change, right? But something will go fast. Like I was talking about how we live, right? Right now, we basically order food by apps or whatever. Is so fast, the adoption. Or right now, especially like Zoom meeting. 2 years ago or even last year, nobody knows about it. I learned about this when Faye, right, Miss President, AIC alumni president, invited me for a meeting by Zoom. I was surprised, hey, what is Zoom is? But right now, I use Zoom many hours a day for meetings, for the conferences. It's like one part of life. Yeah. So I think maybe within 5 years, we can see the momentum. And the lenders, as I said, or the public are quite concerned about this one. Like I said, the COVID is one reminder that, hey, this is, the world have given us a big warning. Mother Nature have given us a big warning that this is warning number one. You already lost almost 1 million within 8 months. Yeah, right.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience?
So if you like, you can follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. It's good one, and there are many interesting stuff on there. Some papers, some practical examples. Right. There is even some dedicated topics on this as well. Yeah.
Okay. And in LinkedIn, I'll follow you.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone for sharing your ideas. I'd like to invite Ms. Maria Faye Neostroferrios, President of AIT Alumni Association, for the concluding remarks. Welcome, Ms. Faye.
Thank you, Shreya. Yeah. Good afternoon, AIT family. In behalf of the Asian Institute of Technology Alumni Association, our AITAA Governing Board, our AITAA Headquarters Executive Committee, and our AIT alumni spread all over the world. We sincerely thank our alma mater, the Asian Institute of Technology, for co-organizing with AITAA this forum that gives opportunity for our alumni to share their knowledge and expertise in the development of communities towards smart operations and living. More of our alumni engineers and technologists are in the midst of building smart cities that will spell progress for the countries we are in. Having a tested and proven platform to make this endeavor successful is an imperative. What are the relevant components of this platform? This engaging talk of Dr. Thiti has introduced us to the critical factors in planning and implementing and sustaining such mega projects. Factors involving civic and social issues, health and well-being, quality environment, safety and security, infrastructure, and industry. And this will require public and private partnerships, organizational changes, policy changes, massive funding, and re-education. What is interesting here is that it has been happening in many cities, and in most cases, our co-alumni were in the forefront of these developments. What has prepared our alumni for these opportunities? I tend to think that we could give some credit or a lot of credit to AIT for our preparation for the challenges in building smart cities. A lot of required competencies at work: critical thinking, problem solving, oral and written communications, teamwork, collaboration, information technology application, leadership, professionalism and work ethic, multinational, multiracial, multi-religion, multicultural exposure, innovative and can-do attitude, and also recently business acumen, and most especially passion for work and compassion for others, for our co-workers and the beneficiaries of our work. Building smart cities will spell change. We have to prepare our communities for this. It should not raise the barrier between the educated and the uneducated, between the young and the old, between the haves and the have-nots. The growth and development must be inclusive, and that has been emphasized by Dr. Thiti. The platform must address this, and that is the challenge. Building smart cities will need to include not just the urban centers, and our rural areas must not be left behind. The smart city platform must address the nationwide and worldwide spread of its usefulness. These are some of our challenges and opportunities. May I therefore invite our AIT alumni to contribute their knowledge and talent in these trying times. Let not this pandemic hinder us in sharing our resources to continue innovating for our communities and our cities and our rural areas. Thanks again to all the organizers of this event, led by Dr. Navid, Mr. Sanjeev, and Ms. Rhea, and most especially my friend and our excellent resource speaker, Dr. Thiti. This interesting session will be aired in our YouTube channel, Walk the Talk AITAA, and our Facebook pages. So please subscribe to our channels. There will be more. Stay tuned and keep safe. May God bless us all. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Faye, and thank you everyone for joining our live sessions today. Special thank you once again to our speaker, Dr. Thiti, for the wonderful talk. Now, I'd like to invite you everyone else for a group photo or a group screenshot, I should say.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'll stop my share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just take a group shot. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Thiti.
Congratulations, Thiti.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, Thiti, I'll see you on Wednesday.
See you. See you. See you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.